Hey, okay, welcome. I'm going to show you guys a video. I wanted to kind of give you a little more thorough introduction to the particular part of the trinket that we're going to be using. And I know some of you are eager to save your work and turn it in. I just wanted to point out there's not going to be a lot of turning in during the summer. I'm just going to have a couple assignments at the end of each block, and I'm not going to put those all at the same time. So really I need you to slow down and do these things a little bit thoroughly and not just try to rush it in and nail it in one weekend. So just so we're clear, I know you guys, some people are asking how do we turn this stuff in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an announcement. Once you get the announcement on Google Classroom, you should get that emailed to you, by the way. If you sign up on Google with your Gmail and you use email at all, if it's connected to your phone or whatever, it'll send you a notification that, hey, I made an announcement. That way you know, oh, there's an announcement. I can go there, check out, see what it is. Okay, it's a great way to communicate with each other also. If you're getting every announcement for like every chat, you want to change your preferences. So I'll do another tutorial later on how to change your preferences on the Google Classroom page. But for now, I just wanted to go over the coolest part of the Turtle program, which is how we start to use loops. Okay, so let's first talk about what a loop is. I'm going to close this down because it uses a lot of RAM, believe it or not. First of all, you can do all of this on any of the Python emulators. So anytime you see this window, you can pretty much use that as your Python emulator. So what we're talking about right now is we just discussed a Turtle module. So we basically learned how to import a package called Turtle, and then we can use that to create a Turtle. So we first tell it where to find it. So this is the module, that's why it's lowercase, and then the capital is the physical actual Turtle. So if I do that, it doesn't do anything because I haven't actually created. Actually, on normal screen it would actually show the Turtle, but let me make the Turtle move. I'll make it move 100. Oh, there you go. So this is basically how it works. Again, you'll try to do this off of memory, by the way. So when you're actually trying to program, try not to look back at the previous page. Try to see if you can do it off of memory, and when you get a mistake, so let's just pretend I made a mistake here. If you make a mistake, it'll highlight it for you, and it'll actually tell you that this invalid type object has no attribute, lowercase turtle. So you might not notice it because it seems like a very small discrepancy, but first thing you got to understand is that in computer science, lowercase letters and uppercase letters are actually different things. Okay, they have actually complete different character. Okay, I don't want to get too far off topic. So let's just say that I'm going to draw a square. Okay, I should just pretend I have an objective here. So so I move them forward, and then squares have 90-degree angles, so I'm going to turn them 90 degrees. So now it's pointed down. I'm going to make them move some more. So I'll add some more code. And you might think, well, that's a lot of typing. And you're right, by the way. I almost typed my last name. And then what I wanted you guys to get in the habit of is one of the things I said is keep running your code. So don't just like type through your whole program and then run it. Run it step by step. Make sure that you're learning everything you do. Even though it becomes redundant after a while, you're like, I certainly know how to make the turtle move forward. It doesn't cost you anything to run the program. So it's fun to get in the habit of just running the program over and over again and making sure that the program is doing what you want. It'll be a lot easier to see where your mistakes are if you're doing that each time. Okay, so I'm like drawing a little square here. I forgot to remind you. So let me put that up here so it's I'm gonna draw a square. Okay, so now one last thing will do it. And there's my square. Okay, so a couple of things I wanted to point out. I didn't mention this before, but you can actually change the speed. I know I did mention that you could change the speed, but the fastest you can go is actually not. So let me just go through. So let's pretend it's 6. Whoops. Push enter. If I make it 6, it'll be about that fast. And if I make it 7, obviously it's faster. Okay, but you might think that 9 is the fastest, but the actual fastest, believe it or not, is 0. 0 for 10. Look at that. It's gone. Boom. Woof. I don't even know you can see that because it's going so fast. I don't know if the camera I'm using will actually capture that. Anyways, it's very fast. If I do it 2, you can see it's very slow. So sometimes you actually want it to go slow because you want to see exactly where you're messing up your code. Again, once I draw a bunch of lines, I want to be able to see where it's going wrong. Okay, so for now I'm just going to do 7 because that's a nice speed. Okay, now what I want to show you is there's a couple of ways that we could speed this up. You know, instead of writing the same code over and over again, there's a couple of ways. So one you might have thought of is, couldn't I just copy these and paste them? And then paste them. Of course. So I actually said try not to be a copy paster because it's not going to teach you as much, but it is actually going to be used. So in other words, there's times when everyone copies and pastes, and that's okay. What I don't want you to do is just copy and paste code that you've never written before. Okay, but once you're doing the same thing and you're like, I know how to do this, I just want to save time, then of course you're going to copy and paste. Okay, so anyways, getting back to this, so that's one way you can do it. But today's topic is actually about loops, okay? So instead of doing it this way, we're going to use a loop. So what is a loop, first of all? Well, let me explain it to you by showing you an example. So first of all, there's a couple different ways you can do it. Let's just say we were going to have let n equal 4. We're going to make n the number of times we go through the loop. Now again, this isn't, the computer doesn't know this, okay? The computer doesn't know any of this right here because it's all under the comment, okay? So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to tell the computer for n in range, and this, by the way, you'll learn all of this. There's a couple different ways of writing a loop, but this is probably the easiest. So what you're going to do is you're going to write the words for n, so that could be anything, and then in range 4, it's going to have this program go through this loop, and what happens is after it's finished, whoops, I don't know what I just did right there. Oh, it's gone. Let me rewrite that. What's going to do is actually, it's going to go through this, and it's going to do the same thing 4 times. Okay, so watch. If I do it 3, it'll only do it 3 times. So those 3 sides. Okay. So basically, what happens is the computer, instead of going, so normally when a program starts, it reads the first line, then the second line, then the third line, etc. There's blank line, just goes right through it. Comment, it ignores, and then it gets here. Now, once we hit this, this is called a code block. So you see how this is indented? That's actually important. If I don't indent, okay, it'll break. See, right there, it's expecting an indent. Now what's interesting is the amount of indents don't matter as long as they're indented the same amount. So if you see, I can indent this a few times, okay, but if they're not lined up, it will break, okay. So it doesn't actually matter how many times I indent, 3 times, 4 times, but I have to have them the same amount. If I do any of them is off, it's not going to work. So it's important actually that you understand that although white space is ignored, so for example, this space between here and here is just for it to be easier to read, but if I rerun it, it doesn't change anything. That's considered white space, okay? It doesn't actually have anything to do with it. Okay, you can even put space here and it still works. So it doesn't actually matter. What you must have one space, so if I just did that, it's one command. So you do need the one space to separate this from this, but doesn't matter if you added more spaces. So a lot of times when you see me, especially when I'm teaching, you'll see me add spaces just to make it a lot more clear for you to read. What you don't want to do is add spaces inside of this. That would not work. No, it does actually. Never mind. I lied. So again, trial and error. So anyways, what I wanted to talk about was this loop. So what's cool about this is you can actually do this many times. So let's see. Oh, I can do it 10 times. Oh, well, it's just drawing all over itself. Okay, well, let's change the angle a little bit. Let's not make it 90 degrees. So we make this object. Oh, wow, that's cool. So it's doing this. Oh, let's make it 100, and let's make it 83 degrees. So it's not an even number. And look what happens. This right here, you see, is making this cool little design. It looks like it's starting to overlap, so it's not actually adding to anything. So one thing I can do is I can just change this number. You'll find that the odds of it overlapping are pretty low. But if you change it it probably won't overlap for a long time. That's what kind of is fun to do, is just to experiment. You'll notice I'm not really thinking about these numbers. I'm just putting them in and running them, and then I'm getting these cool shapes. You see, it doesn't quite overlap. So I get this nice little thing. And then you can actually say, well, that's taking a long time. This is exactly what my point was at the beginning. I'm going to change this to 0, and now I can do the whole thing a lot quicker. So if you want to start messing around with this, you can actually do it a lot quicker by changing that to 0. Okay. So what's cool about this loop? Well, a lot of things, but watch this. I can actually add some more code. And let's make them go not the same amount. Let's just make it 60, for example. And then we're going to make Alan go right. We'll make it like over 100 degrees. We'll do like 130. Okay. Oh, I messed up on. So I'll just show you. Yay, I messed up, but it doesn't matter. It tells me. So, bam. Now I get this other shape. Oh, cool, you know. And I think, oh, that looks so cool. And you can start messing around with it, but then it gets too much. Oh, I liked it before it got all filled in. So you can make some adjustments here. So let's just try 50 times. And so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So at the beginning of this module, I just want you to have fun, like drawing and seeing what you can create, adding lines, changing what happens on this side, and running it. And mostly right here is the time where you're actually going to get used to just trial and error and just running your code and seeing what happens and then adjusting your code and trying to then come up with an idea and try to do it. That's like the best part about this whole programming part. So a lot of times kids don't really enjoy programming until they start creating stuff. So that's why I get so excited about this particular exercise, and I wanted to make you guys this cool video. So anyways, that's it for now. I'm going to turn it off to you. So again, when you get in and you get to your summer course, this is going to be found on the loops page. Now, to make it a little easier for you, I already preset some of the stuff. But basically, I just kind of remind you some of the things I put there. Again, these are ignored. But I advise you to just go ahead and try changing this up. So as you go through here, you can just start changing these numbers. Again, you can, I put it right here, enter some code to make Bob go faster. So if you remember how I did that, you can do that so that you're not waiting so long. Okay, doke. Well, I hope you guys are having as much fun as I am, and I'll see you in the next video.